Humorous stories. This is where we tell you behind-the-scenes stories of fire stations and people that are involved in fire departments. We're pretty well qualified to do that, being two career veterans, as well as our fathers being career veterans. So we do have a lot of stories to tell you. And today I got a story about a station, just a single station. It was sort of a station on the outskirts of town, and it didn't get a lot of alarms. You know, it was sort of like a country club type of station. And to prove it, it had a horse ranch right beside it. And this horse ranch was having a steeplechase or something, and it needed water in, you know, I was going to call them water traps, but they would be, you know, things that horses jump over, you know. Sure. And, so the guy that owned the ranch or was putting on the show asked the fire chief if he could bore one of our tankers to transport water and dump it into these troughs. And he said, no problem. So we went into work that morning and to do that. We're looking, you know, out at the field and out at the festivities, just putting up the tents and stuff like that. And in the field, there's a horse on its back with its four legs in the air. And one of the guys says, geez, he says, that's something you don't see too often. He says, you know, a horse on its back with the four legs in the air. Yeah.
The horse dead?
No, it was just up there like this with his legs in there, just going like this. It was, I don't know what it was doing. But anyways, you know, we did our chores and stuff, and time came that they needed the tanker. And you gotta remember back then the driver of the tanker wasn't really a trained driver. He was a firefighter that could drive the tanker.
Anybody would be put on that position.
Yeah, could load water and offload water onto the tanker pretty well. That's what it was. So this guy gets on the truck and he goes out the driveway of the fire station, and it's like a U-turn. It's on the driveway of the other, and it's a long driveway out to the very back where the exhibition is. And the road is sort of crowned, right? But the road is also not designed for something as heavy as a tanker, you know, holding as much water, right? So this guy's driving it down, and all of a sudden it starts to crumple, and it goes off the crown, and he says, he just sort of kept on crumpling. He says, and then he just turned over on his back. He says, it was just that gentle. He said, you know, and we're sitting in the kitchen, and we looked out, and the guy says, oh, there's something you don't see too often. He says, a tanker with its wheels on the wheel, four wheels in the air. But that was one of the stories from that place. And another one was it had sunken window wells, and we got a squirrel in there one time. We had this firefighter with a big heart, and but he was a little squirmish around wild animals. So he was going to get this squirrel out, and he figured he'd take a rake and he'd stick it down into the wheel well, and leave the handle up against the upper edge of it, and the squirrel would just jump out and run away. But as soon as he got that thing within like 3 feet of the ground, the squirrel was on him, up that friggin'
up his arm,
up and gone into the trees. Meanwhile, this guy was just screaming away. You know, it's a mental picture I'll never forget. Another one was, and this was before my time, but there was a captain that had worked there for a long time. And when you work at Hall for a long time, you get attached to it. You know, it's, sure. You know, it becomes yours. And this hall had a long driveway. And he thought that, you know, perhaps it could use the trees. So he had a friend that was in the business, the arbor business, and he managed to get 15 trees that were, you know, maybe 10 feet tall, you know, big roots on them like this, yeah. And he brought them in, and he said to the guys, "Here's our work for the weekend, guys. You're going to plant these 15 trees." And of course, the guys were quite underwhelmed with that because they didn't have the same vision. So they said, "Sure, Cap, we'll get to it." So they did the measurements, and he came out and said, "Okay, that's where we want the trees planted." And they dug a hole, and they took an axe and they cut the tree into a point. And they stuck it
in the ground like a stake.
And they put it up, and then they staked it, right? and they kept doing this. They dig up the sod, right, and then a little bit of a hole, and they stick this thing in, and they put it in. They put the sod back on, making it look like there's a hole, and they dug for it all the way up. And the captain finished his nap or whatever he was doing. He came out and looked, and he said, "Oh, you guys got them planted already."
Already?
Said,
Oh.
yeah. He said, "Good for you." They managed to hide the root balls. I don't know what they did with them, but it was pretty easy. It was a rural area. So anyways, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, this captain's out every day that they're working with this 5-gallon bucket, watering these trees, because no matter all the TLC that he's giving them, the darn things are dying. You can't figure it out. So I think what happened is the guys on the squad had to pay another squad when they were gone to take out the trees, so that it was obvious that there's no root balls to it. They had told them they could just pull them out, right? I think it cost them pizza for the whole haul or something like that. So that's the stories I got. Except I got one more about a fellow with the London Firefighter Christmas Choir.
Okay.
You heard about that?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, when I first started, they found out I played guitar a little bit, and that they thought maybe I should join the London Firefighter Christmas Choir. And what the Christmas Choir does is goes around to Christmas time, different places of disability people, nursing homes and so on and so forth, hospitals, and they give performances of Christmas carols. They don't have a lot, they don't know a lot, because they never, sing a whole lot, so they know maybe 8 or 10 Christmas carols, and they just sing the same Christmas carols wherever they go. But the firefighters try out for it, and they asked this guy, and this was before I started, but they asked me the same thing, and I didn't wise up to it, but this other guy did. They asked him if he wanted to be into the Christmas choir, and he said sure. So they went to this fire station, and this fire station had two trucks in it. Now one was an aerial, and it had a light, a big floodlight that went from the aerial part backwards. And what they did, back then we used to get our soda pop bottles in wooden cases. And they stacked the cases up so there's like 3 or 4 layers and a little bit of a platform on the top where you could stand and sing.
Sure.
And so they brought him in and they set him down. They said, okay, this is an audition, be nice and easy, and don't worry about don't be nervous, and don't worry about anything, you're not going to hurt anybody. But we just want you to get up there, sing some Christmas carols, and maybe, follow our directions to see how you can sing them. So he said, sure. And of course they had, the people that set this thing up for him, from his squad. They had the guys that were at the fire station there that were in on it. They had the chief and the chief driver there at the time. Anybody that could be there, but they were all behind the light where this guy couldn't see them. And he's standing up maybe 4 feet off the ground in a spotlight, and he's singing, "In Silent Night," and they say to him, well, can you sing that in? And they bring out a pitch pipe. Can you sing it in that key? He goes, oh yeah. He says, silent night. He says, good. Can you sing it in this one? Oh yeah, I can do that. Silent night. And they get him to go through all these contortions on all these different Christmas carols. Meanwhile, the guys in behind the light are singing and he's standing up there with the light shining in his eyes, so he doesn't see anything that's going on behind, and that there's probably 15 guys there that are listening to him. And they had arranged before him that this was the tryout night, so he was the first one, but from here on in they were going to come in that one door, and he was going to come down off the soapboxes and then go out the back door and go in, so that they didn't run into somebody else, so people weren't embarrassed whether they made it or not. Right? So, of course, he finishes there. They thank him, they shake his hands, and all the guys standing there with their clipboards and taking the notes, So So that was sort of the shenanigans that the boys got up to in that station.
I'm pretty much mine pretty lame, but I was at the credit union dinner, and this guy and we just started the credit union. We've been there for maybe 6 months, I guess. And this other guy who's been there about 40 years. Anyways, the three of us went together. We get there, we're looking around for the room. Normally you go to the credit union dinner at the Seven Dwarfs, get the buffet, because the buffet is the cheapest. It's a good buffet, but it's cheap. The a la carte is very expensive. So we're always told to get the buffet. We get in the room.
The credit union some dollars.
Oh yeah. So we get in this room, and the guy who's been there for 40 years, he's looking around. I'm looking around. I have never seen any of these people before. They're looking at us like, who are they?
What, at the table you're sitting at?
Yeah.
I mean, you found a table with some people.
Oh yeah, and we're sitting there like as if we belong, and so they're not questioning us.
What, you didn't know like the people beforehand?
No, nobody knew
No,
anybody.
because it's in the district.
Well,
The district meeting.
this is a district meeting. Anyways,
So you
we're
didn't know
sitting
the
there.
people. Okay.
We're sitting there, and they come around. They're taking orders with the a la carte, and I'm like, "You're doing a la carte? Like we don't normally do that." So I said to the guy who's been there 40 years, I said, "A la carte? Oh, I don't know. I never heard of that before." I said, "Well, I haven't either. I'm still doing the buffet anyways. I like it." And so the three of us are doing the buffet. So we get up, and the guy says, "Well, if you want the buffet, you can go and get it now." So we get up, and we go out, and they're getting loading our plate up and look across, and here's the secretary, and she looks at me and she says, "Where are you guys?" I said, "Well, we're over in this room here." "Well, we're in this room over here. You're supposed to be."
You're in the wrong spot.
We're in the wrong room. Yeah.
The wrong group. But they're nice people.
Oh, they're very nice.
Very nice people. Well, you're nice people too. Like, how could they not like you?
Well, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Anyways.
Well, and how could you not like us? So if you like these stories, please stay posted. Every Friday we post another one. And if you like them, please press the like button. And if you like us, press the subscribe button. And we'll get these into your inbox every week as we post them. So thank you. I'm Bob.
Doug.
This is Firehouse Stories. Goodbye.